This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Welcome back, everybody, to the Laugh Cry Club. I'm Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea, and if you are an imperfect human who laughs and cries, then this podcast is for you, or a friend, or a loved one, or just somebody who wants to be super VIP, which is VIP, very important person in the LCC, which is the Laugh Cry Club members.
So glad you're here, and I just want to take a moment to thank the people who've been writing us really nice comments, following us on Instagram. We're at Laugh Cry Club, sending us messages through Gmail, whatever way that you send us messages, and just say that you're grateful for the show. We really, really appreciate it. So thank you for supporting us. We are 3 licensed therapists. We have over 20 years experience each in the field, and we started this podcast just to normalize emotions, normalize the stuff that we go through. We go through it ourselves, and we want to make it less scary because sometimes it can feel really isolating. This world there's a lot going on, and if this is a bright spot in your day, then we have done our job. So thank you for being here. We start every episode with a laugh and a cry of the week. Our topic today is what you would do if you knew you couldn't fail. So I can't wait to dive into all of this. Chelsea, who is first?
Well, today I'm going to nominate myself because I'm so excited to share my laugh. And
I can't wait.
Of course, nobody's really excited to share a cry, but I am excited to share my laugh. So, as you all know, my husband passed. I don't know if I'd mentioned that he was a giant deadhead, followed the Grateful Dead when he was 15 years old for summers, sold grilled cheese, slept in trees, sold beer.
I love that. So he was he traveled around, followed them, and saw all the shows. That's so cool.
Forever. Yeah. In fact, didn't go to college, was accepted to college, was a half a credit short from graduating high school, but he was very smart and did well on his ACTs, so was accepted to college, but instead followed the Grateful Dead. So I'm not a Grateful Dead person, although I'm wearing a Grateful Dead or a Dead and Company or Grateful Dead sweatshirt. I don't know. I'm wearing something.
Is this, so it's red, white, and blue. I just have to describe for listeners.
Cute?
It's got, so is there stars on, oh, that's super cute. So it's just picture a white hoodie with blue sleeves and a blue hood, but on the inside of the hood is red and white stars. That is super cute. I've never seen a hoodie with the inside is a different material and color. I love it. Okay,
so
continue.
Cute. So this is from 2015, Dead and Company, when John Mayer came in and started singing for Jerry Garcia, since he's obviously dead. So I've been to a few Dead and Company shows with Steve. I'm not going to lie. The music going on and on and on and on is a lot. The jam sessions, I'm
not a jam band person, yeah.
There's a lot of jamming going on, right? So my friend Noel, who is Steve's friend, he had was hey, one of my friends works for Billy Strings. He's opening for Dead and Company. Do you want to come? We'll just sit up on stage and we'll be there with Steve in spirit. And I was absolutely. And then this was right after Steve died, and my girlfriends were at the house with me, and I was I'm going to do this Dead and Company thing. And my girlfriend was my husband is actually waiting. You wait to get tickets, I guess, in the queue or whatever. I haven't bought concert tickets in a long time. And she's maybe he should get us tickets. And I was oh my God, please come with me. I need girlfriends. It's going to be intense. So we, on a whim, all ended up, this is 5 days after Steve died, 3 days, immediately after, we were okay, we're going to do this thing. Well, fast forward, Noel, who's also in the industry, ended up needing to do something for Lollapalooza. And so I went to Dead and Company as GA. And for those of you who don't know what GA is general admission, which
the unwashed regulars.
I haven't been GA. Okay, Taylor Swift. A long time ago, I took Charlie. That's the only concert in like.
Which is my favorite story when Charlie freaked out and was like, we don't get to go backstage. What is this nonsense? GA.
GA. So I'm GA and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to Grateful Dead. I'm going to GA. I'm like, okay, we're doing this for Steve. So my girlfriend's husband, who's like full Deadhead, also followed the Grateful Dead. He made stickers of Steve that say Steve your face instead of steal your face. And there's a picture of Steve's face on them with the Grateful Dead Steal Your Face logo, right? So he's like, we're ready to go. And then he sends us this text message. And I'm like, this is how I'm going to get through grief. Sends us this text message like, hey, I'm so excited that you're going to be joining Dane and I, that's her son, to go to the Grateful Dead concert. The weather's going to be cool and blah, 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 blah. Like gives us a weather update and then says, if you starts talking about the Zen sauna religion where the sacrament is psychedelic mushrooms. And like, if you want to participate, you can like be a member. And it's legal in San Francisco. And I'm like, yeah, of course I want to participate. Sign me up. So I sign up to be a member. And my laugh is, I mean, there were so many laughs. We looked like we got kidnapped by the Grateful Dead by the time we were done. We
you
were
really
in like,
did. It was so great.
We were like mismatched clothes. We were all the things.
You looked like you belonged on that movie, Almost Famous.
Oh my God. Yeah. We were, it was freezing in San Francisco and windy.
Okay.
So we
Bay
had
Area is
on,
going to do that. Yep.
Yeah, I had on like layers and layers of mismatched, like tie-dye with bell bottoms, with a long sleeve shirt, with like a huge jacket, with beads all over me and feathers in my hair. We looked like we got kidnapped. But my laugh.
Where did you get all these fabulous clothes, by the way? Because I was like, where did you get all this cool stuff?
So we went to Shakedown Street, which they make like outside of the Grateful Dead concert. So Shakedown Street is like vendor, food, drugs, so many drugs. Like people are like selling nitrous balloon whippets, passing out mushrooms, and the cops are there. On the street, and the cops are there. Nobody gets arrested. It's the strangest thing I've ever. It was a very funny experience. So
wow.
So I bought like this beaded, handmade Indian Grateful Dead, like full body bead thing that I wore. I had jewelry, I had tie-dye pajamas, and by the end I put on every single thing I bought I was wearing. Like I was in every clothing item like a little kid who played dress up. It was great. And on the sacrament. So we go to the Zen sauna church. This is like our first day. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to have like a spiritual experience where I take my sacrament and like do a prayer. And I'm like super excited about it. And I'm a big believer in like hallucinogenics and what it does for the brain. And I think there's a lot of really good research out there. And in fact, we're implementing it a lot in mental health. So I was like, wow, this is going to be really cool. I'd read up all on this religion and I was super excited. We go in. This isn't a fucking church. This is a dispensary. It's a
Are you kidding me? There's not like lights and incense.
There is nothing.
Or candles.
There is a line and you scan your membership and then you go and it's all mushrooms, just like pot, just like a pot dispensary if you've ever been. People just selling. There's nothing about it. Is a dispensary with the loophole, meaning that we're a 501c3 nonprofit because we're a religion. So of course they're all making fun of me because they're like, Chelsea, we told you it was just a dispensary. But I was like, I thought we were having this like spiritual awakening at the dead and like all this stuff. So literally they have prices for everything and then they ring you up, but they're like, and how would you like to make your donation today for your sacrament? Which is only buying drugs. Okay. So
what a time to be alive.
Is it a write-off? Isn't it 501c3?
Yes.
You could go buy drugs and have it be a tax write-off. How amazing.
Wow. My Catholic brain is just blown right now.
Okay. I was literally dying. We were laughing so hard. And of course, they're all making fun of me. They're like, Chelsea, we told you this was just a dispenser. I'm like, I was like getting ready to like, I thought I was going to like pray and like open my mouth and take a mushroom communion. Like I was I had this entire narrative of what was going to happen.
Open my mouth and take a mushroom.
Yeah, like how they
Bless
put
you.
like how they put the cracker in your mouth and then
Oh
maybe,
yeah,
like,
they say the body of Christ.
yeah, and
The
then
body of Christ.
totally
It's not a
and then
mushroom.
I was gonna drink like a mushroom elixir for the blood, right? Like I thought in my head this was a Catholic communion experience. Okay,
Wow, that's Catholics on speed right there. I'm loving it.
Sure
yeah.
is.
So I was dying laughing. They were all making fun of me. And then they continued to tell the story. Like, yeah, so Chelsea thought that there was going to be this spiritual thing. Like, I just got made fun of. It was so hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute.
And it was so fun. I mean, we did obviously have some spiritual experiences until I went into the general admission porta potty.
Nope.
And that, my friends, was the end of my spiritual experience.
The end of your GA journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't. I
Wow.
tried to break in.
Steve was looking down, being like, she just shaking his head, being like, nah, she's not gonna.
Yeah, I tried to break into the bathrooms. I tried to do that. And then I could have got in if it was all men, but there was a woman and she was like, your bathroom is over there. I'm pointed to the porta potty. And I said, look at me. You know my bathroom isn't over there. You know my bathroom is right behind these doors that you're not letting me in. So let's just get real about this. I don't belong in the porta potty.
No. No. You're like, don't you know who I am? I host the Laugh Cry Club.
Yeah, and I'm on sacraments, and that's going to make me
Yeah.
less spiritual and so sad when I go in a porta potty.
Well, not only that is like, I think there's just so many beads and things hanging down that you can't contain in a porta potty.
You cannot contain. I had so many, I had like 5 layers. I'll post pictures. I had so many
Oh my
layers on.
gosh.
Yeah, so I held it.
You
for-
held
No
it?
way.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother story. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I think I would just pissed my pants.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't know if this is even appropriate, but we'll just sleep. There's this vagina machine you can get that does your Kegels for you. And it's an FDA approved and it's made by a doctor, a female, and her father, who's also a doctor. And so it's for like bladder as you get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your bladder has stuff. So anyways, years ago, I bought this so I can hold it for a really long time.
Wow, your
because-
pelvic floor muscles are like steel
Bam.
traps?
Yes.
Dang.
Oh.
And they
Dang.
used to not be. They used to not be. It used to be like I could run
yeah.
and maybe pee my pants.
Because also after
For
having
sure.
kids, like your pelvic
Yes.
floor muscles. Yes. Oh, wow. This is amazing. What's the name of this device?
What is the name? I'll find it
Okay.
and put it up. I can't remember what the name of it is.
That's so cool.
Oh, Yarlap. YARLAP. Yarlap.
Okay.
And it does your Kegels for you. And all I kept thinking was, thank you, Yarlap. Thank you.
Wow.
Like your lap?
Yeah, but with a YA.
I think they could have come up with so
Yar.
many different names for this.
It reminds me of
machine.
like burlap. Like I don't just I'm sure it stands for something. Maybe
your
medical.
lap or mine.
That is amazing. There's so many fun little nuggets of laughter in this story, Chelsea. Like we learned that you found a church that wasn't a church, that was a dispensary. You went to a street mart where they were selling drugs, clothes, and cops were just hanging out, probably partaking. And then you went to a concert with the Unwashed and GA, had to finagle the bathroom situation, tried to get into a bathroom, said, no, I belong in that bathroom. They said no. So your Kegel machine came to the rescue.
That's right.
And the years of practicing your Kegel muscles saved you from having to use a porta potty. Like I can't.
It
You
did.
can't make this up. You can't.
It did.
make this
And
up.
I even tried with a ranger. There was a ranger there with a gun, and he was like just standing there. Like he was the only cop who appeared to be sober in San Francisco. So I
Yeah.
went up to him and I was like, listen, you have something that I want. And he's like, what's that? And I'm like, see that badge that gets you anywhere? I need that because I need to pee in a proper bathroom. And these are unacceptable. And he was
Wow,
dying,
Chelsea,
laughing,
I am
dying.
so
I tried
impressed.
so hard.
He was like, what? He's like, she's so on the sacrament.
Yeah, he was like, I'm actually getting ready to leave work right now. He's like, and the bathroom is way over there, and I would take you if I wasn't getting ready to leave. And I was like, that is a poor excuse
Yeah.
and very unacceptable. But I tried. I really tried.
Oh, wow. That is some effort. And you have the guts. I would never have the guts to go up to some police person with a gun and be like, can I use your badge to go to the
You
bathroom?
have something I want. I can't believe he actually fell for it and
You
said,
have something
what
I
is that?
want.
It's like, wow, you must have been really charming.
I was literally pulling out the moves. I was desperate. Desperate. So that was my laugh. And there was so many laughs. Steve is stickered all over San Francisco. Even at the Four Seasons, I stickered him underneath the table where we were eating. He's underneath. He's on bus stops. He's in taxis. He's everywhere. Steve is everywhere. He is all over San Francisco.
That sticker thing was such a good idea. I saw you post the sticker, and it's a lovely, lovely sticker, and it's so cute. It's like I think it says, what did it say on there? Did it say rest in peace, or it said something like
rest in peace or something, and then it says Steve your face.
Oh, so great.
Yeah, and that was all Eric. That was not me. So it was really, really, really amazing. And then my cry, of course, I cry every day, so that's just part of grief. But this morning I had a gratitude cry. So today was my kid's first day of going to school. I started a routine. Like I meditated, I did yoga, I journaled, and I went to the gym for the first time. I don't even remember when. I'm like, okay, I have to start a routine. And my gratitude cry was so many people have helped us, our family, on this journey. We had like a GoFundMe that gave me this breathing room right now. So I've been able to have this breathing room to not work, to be fully present with our kids, to be able to go slow, to be able to have this really lovely summer in the hardest time of our life. And I'm blown away by people's generosity. I'm blown away by my friends. I'm blown away by friends of friends. I mean, we have been so supportive. I mean, even yesterday, I even got like a meal, like 2 meals yesterday, like 2 dinners from Steve's cousin. Like, just want to make things a little bit easier. And not only does it soften it, it makes it where I feel like I have a real opportunity to work through this in a very intentional way that I wouldn't get to have if I was trying to do all the things that I normally do. And so I was just moved to tears today. I was driving home from the gym and I just started crying and was like, I am so fucking grateful. I'm so grateful. And so that was my gratitude cry.
Are people the best? The people that really are around you and supporting you and lifting you up, they're the best.
They're the best. And I don't know, I got really lucky. And I know my life has been hard with a lot of things I've gone through, but I'm very, very, very lucky. And it's because of the humans. It's because of other humans. Yeah, that's my experience. And I'm really grateful for that. So now that we've all relived the Grateful Dead or Dead and Company or GA, I'm going to pass it over to a more VIP person, more VIP. I mean, extra VIP, the most VIP, possibly a Dallas Cowboy at some point, VIP celebrity, where maybe we never have to be GA again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rebecca.
Oh, that's so
Rebecca.
Funny. Wow. Gosh, I have had a fantastic week. So I used to work a long time ago. It's like 3 years ago. I worked with this person named Alita. Name drop for everybody. If you know her.
Alita. Lovely Alita.
Alita has lived in Germany for the last 3 years and was back here in the States. Yeah, we were like we're really great friends at work. And then, I've actually never met Alita in person. Like, I've known Alita probably for 5 years now, right? And I've never met Alita in person, just like I've never met Chelsea in person, but that's getting ready to change.
Yeah, it is.
So came in town and was like, we're trying to figure out, like, we thought dinner. And then it was like, I made this promise to my kids to take them to an amusement park. Would you maybe want to go? And she was already thought, like, out of the people I know, who would maybe say yes to this? And she thought I would say yeah. And I did. I'm like, yes. I actually took a page out of Chelsea's playbook too. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start saying yes to things. So I met somebody for the very first time and their family at an amusement park. at Six Flags.
That is so fun.
And I will say, last time I went to ride roller coasters was probably 6 or 7 years ago. And at that time, I said, I think I'm done. I don't need to ride them again. Because when you get older, they really hurt. Like, you might have a neck injury or whatever.
You got to see the Cairo next week.
Yeah, like, it's serious business. And so I'm like, I'm going to go. I'm going to see how it goes. And so I got there a little bit early because they were, getting off the airplane, getting their car and stuff. I'm like, hopefully this story isn't too long, but it's so good. Like, Robin had told me, you have to ride the Texas Giant because it's one of the oldest roller coasters. It used to be all wooden, but they've totally changed it up. And I'm like, okay. So I stand in line for 30 minutes and I'm like, I'm going to ride this roller coaster by myself. I've never been on a roller coaster by myself. The second that thing started pulling out, I'm like, I've made a mistake.
Oh no, you regretted it.
I need off of this now.
You regretted it. Oh,
and
I hate that feeling.
You can't get off once it's rolling out.
Oh no.
And usually, they start taking you up, click, 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 and it's slow. Not this one. This was at a faster rate of speed going up, and I'm like, oh shit, I have really made a mistake. I just was like, closed my eyes and held on for dear life. So I'm like closing my eyes, dying on this roller coaster. And then occasionally I might like open my eye and be like, oh no, here we go. Corkscrew, upside down. And then it's like, oh, it's dark. That means we just went through a tunnel. This is really scary. The whole gamut. And then afterwards, I'm like, thank God that was over. So meet up with Alita and her family. It was so much fun. It was like, we totally knew each other, like had been friends since childhood. It was like two kids meeting for a play date. Something, similar like Chelsea, you were saying maybe a week or a few weeks ago. And we're all like the same age range. So we're totally, it was like nostalgia. And then Alita's like, let's ride this Superman ride. It's one of those rides that go up really tall. And then it just basically goes up and down. So it basically catapults you up and then drops you. And I have never been on one of those in my life because I don't really like heights. And the whole idea of somebody dropping me like from 30 stories sounds terrifying. And I'm like, ugh, I've never done it in my life. But I'm like, wait, Chelsea's in my head. I'm saying yes today. I'm telling you what. I was so terrified. Like, even Lita's husband was like, I don't know. Like, we were both like, and Lita's like, oh, this is great. This is the type of ride that doesn't hurt our necks. It's just up and down. You don't get, side-to-side neck issues.
It just makes you lose your bowels.
Okay, so we get on this ride. And it's like 3 in a row. And I'm like, I want to sit in between the two of you because I'm so scared. We get there and it's like taking forever. This thing is so loud. I'm starting to get nervous. We're chit-chatting and I'm like, are they going to come and like strap us in? Because you put your little seatbelt on and then it's like the harness that comes over and then they seatbelt that in. And I'm like, nobody's coming and they're going to start this ride really soon. So I'm starting to have an internal panic attack. There's a woman sitting at the machine over here catty-cornered to us, like probably controls everything. Another woman walks by, looks at us, and then gives her the thumbs up. And I'm like, but wait, we're not strapped in.
This is terrifying.
The thumbs up means we're ready, right?
Yeah. It's
and she's like, oh, it's okay. She's going to get you guys. And I'm just like, oh my God. I thought they were going to catapult us up with just a freaking seatbelt and the harness not over us. And then Maria comes over and it's like smiling and laughing, kind of giggling and strapping us in. And I'm like, Maria, you need to make sure this thing is strapped down. She's like, yeah, okay.
Wait a second. Who's Maria?
Yeah, who's
she
Maria?
was the lady at the controls that was going to come strap us down when I started to have a freaking panic attack.
Okay, can we all appreciate that Rebecca took the time to learn the strapper downer's name?
I saw her name and I'm like, Maria, I think I did it probably to ground myself.
Yeah,
totally.
to save your life.
It was like, my central nervous system was jacked. And I'm like, Maria. Like, I just focused in. I'm like, and Maria's like 22 maybe, like whatever, like,
Maria's like, you're fine.
So we're sitting there, we're strapped in, these other little kids and this parent, they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, was it really scary? And they're like, it was great. And then other people are like, yes, it was so scary. And I'm like, oh, great. And I'm kind of leaning forward. Next thing I know, it takes off. Whoosh, up. And I am screaming my head off.
Oh my gosh.
And I am just like, oh my God. Oh my. See, one thing that about me, I'm not like a religious person. I do appreciate different religions. I like to study them, but I personally am not. So I don't know why I'm calling on God, because God's probably not helping me. But every time I get really scared like that, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. I close my eyes. Then it kind of does the little up and down. And I'm like, okay, I can open them. And Alita's like, oh, look, somebody lost their shoe on that roof. And I'm like, oh, cool. Because if you have like slides on, you need to take them off because they'll fly off. Then it starts to go gradually up. And I'm like, oh my God, we're so high. I can see where the Cowboys play over there. I can see where the Texas Rangers baseball team plays. I can see all of the park. And I know what's getting ready to happen.
Oh, no.
It's just going to drop you, right? 30 stories.
Oh my
I looked
God.
it up how tall this ride
No.
is.
And did you get
This is
scared
terrifying.
like as you saw the Cowboys field? Like, I may never get to be a Dallas
Right.
I
cheerleader.
did. My
Right.
life flashed me.
Yeah, and
my
you're
eyes.
like, Lord, I swear if you keep me safe to be a Dallas cheerleader, I will start believing in you. Is that what you did, Rebecca? Tell
Something
us.
like that. But that's so funny you say that, because as soon as it drops us, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, please, Jesus, help me. Alita told me afterwards, and I was like, we lost you for a second. You were gone. Like, you were very spiritual. You said, oh, please, Jesus, help me.
We know what your threshold is for religion, and it's being on a roller coaster ride.
That is my laugh cry. I've been reliving. I had nightmares that night. Like, I've been reliving this experience because I don't think I've ever been so frightened in my life, ever. And I was already afraid before I did it. I mean, super afraid. But I said, I'm going to do it. And so now I've been processing, like, how did I even do that? The most terrified I've ever been in my life. And I said yes to it. What is wrong with me? Like, oh my gosh.
I think you're amazing, and I would say, what is right with you? I mean, here's the thing. Like, this is where the yes, it can be a one and done. Like, I'm probably not going to go back and see Dead and Company. Probably not going to do that again. But I did it, and now I get to have the experience, and it was actually great and all that. But, like, it's a one and done, and maybe yours is a one and done. Right?
Oh, it's definitely a one and done. I will never again go on one of those rides. It's so terrifying. Like a roller coaster, I'd rather not do those again either. But that type of dropping 30 stories, I was just like, this is what it feels like when you fall off a building. I mean, and oh my God.
Totally hear you, Rebecca. I had the same
Am
exact
I
experience
gonna survive
on that
this?
ride. It's burned in my memory, and it was my 30th birthday. I did the same exact thing, and I remember I know exactly the terror you're feeling. I remember the terror was all consuming.
Consuming.
Never
Like,
again.
You can't even stop thinking about it afterwards. You're like, I think because your amygdala is so jacked, like your whole central nervous system is jacked up afterwards. It's like after the next day, I was like, I feel so hungover.
Yeah, I was gonna
What
say,
is wrong with me?
You felt hungover, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so it was a super fun experience. Did a lot of things I would never, ever do. One and done. But it was so cool. Like meeting somebody for the first time at an amusement park. I mean, we joked around and laughed so hard. It was like, oh yeah, we're not going to have coffee or dinner for first meetings. We do experiences. And I'm like, I'm going to start doing that. Anybody I meet for the first time, like, we're not having coffee or dinner. Because Joy, we started talking about you and going to Las Vegas to do
Yes.
an athletic event for the first meeting.
Yes.
Like, we this is
We just accelerated our friendship right out of the gate.
it.
Yeah.
We do experiences, not coffee and dinner.
Okay, this is...
I love
we're
this
gonna
idea.
have to revisit this because I'm super into it and I'm taking some mental notes right now. I actually really love this idea. First meet is an experience. You know, the fun fact is couples who have adventures have higher relationship satisfaction, even if they hate the adventure. So even if they both went on that Superman drop and they hated it, they're going to have more relationship satisfaction than if those who just like go to dinner and go to the movies. Like we need to have adventures. We need to have new experiences, and it bonds us to the person who we have that with. Like once you have that core memory, that's a bonding thing. So I'm having a big process about this, but it's Joy's laugh.
Yeah, Joy, laugh it up and cry it up.
I'll laugh it up and cry it up. But Chelsea, do you think it has to do with the state of emotions that you're in when you're doing an adventure like that? Like the emotions are heightened versus like a dinner?
I can't remember how in depth they went, but I would say one, there's vulnerability involved because you're doing something that you don't normally do. So that opens up to have more intimacy. Two, you have this shared experience, whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether it was neutral, you have this new shared experience, which then brings a closeness together. No different than if you went through a natural disaster with somebody, or I went to this concert, somebody else went to this concert. We automatically are going to have more of this connection, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it breaks up that mundane, monotonous rut that a lot of people can get into in their intimate relationships because they're doing the same thing day in, day out, and it becomes boring.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, but it's true. Like,
no,
we can get in ruts and get very boring. So
that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, I don't know exactly what the science is, but if I had to look at the psychology of it, that's what I would call out with it. I just know that is true.
That's a good reminder. I'm going to think about that a lot, Rebecca. I really like that. Okay, my laughs and cries of the weeks are kind of like mediocre, but I was just thinking the other day so we had to schedule for this house that we're in now, we had to schedule a walkthrough because it's coming up on the year anniversary of us moving into this house. So they do a walkthrough because like the first year, everything's under warranty. They'll fix anything that's not working properly. They'll whatever, so it's really nice. So we scheduled this walkthrough to give them enough time to fix anything that needs to be fixed before the end of October. And I just had this moment after the fact, after this guy left, where we were kind of walking through the house, where I was so just like sucked back to a year ago where we had no idea what was coming. We were blissfully ignorant to thinking we're moving into this one house, preparing, packing. We had no idea what was on the other side of, just a day. And so it got me into this place where I had a little bit of a cry where I'm like, it's a good reminder, the cliche of like, you never know what's going to happen, but just also how proud we are of how much we went through with this house and being homeless for a month and just having to flip on. I don't know how we did it. I remember thinking like, how did we even get through that? I remember a day where we woke up panicked when we had to go through the switcheroo of the move. And Scott's like, you need to take your dogs. You need to take the dogs to your parents' house. And then we got to figure this out. And I remember driving an hour and a half to like drop the dogs off and like, just all of where I'm like, how did I even get through that time? So that was just like take a deep breath of all that we went through last year with this house and how grateful we are, because the guy was saying something like, wow, you have a really nice house and we love your backyard and wow, this is really great and you got so lucky. And we're like, yeah, it was a good reminder of how lucky we are. And kind of the point of what we've been talking about too, I've been thinking a lot about the manifestation of, how we can create things in our lives and how easy it is to forget the stuff that we've already manifested, where I'm like, wow, at one point we really wanted to move and like, look what happened. And so just feeling really grateful for that. My laugh has been... it has to do with Netflix. So I made the mistake of every once in a while, I like to watch shows, right? I watch a lot of TV and I love trash reality TV. No surprise there. But Netflix has this thing where it will be like the number one, number two, they do the top 10, like the top 10 shows of the week, the top 10 movies of the week. So I always pay attention to that to see like what's popular. And sometimes it's like, So I kept seeing this show, and Rebecca, I know we texted about this, but I kept seeing this show called The Hunting Wives. And I was like, okay, this is like, this must be super popular. And like, I love a good soap opera and I love dramas and I love reality TV. So it's probably kind of campy, trashy in a way that I would love. And I started it and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And it's like got some good twists and turns. But then I quickly was like, I don't like this show. And I like hated the storyline and it started to like really tank for me. But I was so far in that I felt like I had to finish it. And I was so pissed. I have a choice here. I could easily back up, but I was like, I have to finish this stupid show. And so I got into this like rage watching where I was just laughing at myself because I'm like, here I am. I could watch the trashies. I could watch 20 fucking episodes of Love Island. 20 maybe even 30, I think it goes up to. Not bad an eyelash, but this show, I was so pissed that I like forced myself to watch it to the very bitter end and pissed the whole time because I was like, this stupid show, and I'm never, why would I trust the masses that, you know, sorry to get political, but they like elected some asshole, and why am I going with the masses that like voted for this show to be number one on Netflix? And so I went through this whole like rage against myself, which I ended up laughing about because there was another show. I did the same thing with another show called Sirens, did the same exact thing. I was like, when are you going to learn joy? Do not trust the number one show on Netflix. So that was my laugh / just like making fun of myself because why do I do this to myself? And I want my time back. I want my time back. So that is my also advice, PSA to everyone out there. If you want to save yourself some time, do not watch Sirens or The Hunting Wives.
I know you feel so strongly about it. I actually didn't think it was that bad. I think the Texas accents were bad, and it's clearly not East Texas where they say it is. It was filmed in North Carolina, which is so obvious because it doesn't look like Texas because East Texas has a lot of pines. So I was like, what the flip? Like, I hate it when people are supposed to be in a place and it's like, you're not. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that. But there's actually some big name stars in this. And
great cast, but I was a little like
it's taken the internet by storm because I guess everybody's like, oh yeah, all the people want to come to Texas and meet all the Texas wives down there because apparently like they're just having a sex fest. I'm telling you what, there was so much nudity and sex in this. I'm like, wow, like this is crazy.
Well, so are the Mormon wives, you know, like the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So it's like, anyway, it's so funny.
But that's a reality show.
That's a reality show, right? It's so true. But then I go down this rabbit hole when I see stuff like this, where I'm like, this was greenlit. Like this show was greenlit. Like someone greenlit this show, and
somebody did.
A lot of money was spent, and this show is number one on Netflix. Anyway, okay, so. That was my laugh and cry of the week. You want a pop culture snippet from me? I will always have an opinion.
You are the pop culture queen.
I know too much about pop culture.
Because I like watched it and I'm like, I bet Joy's watching this. You guys watching this? This is insanity.
And then I pop in the chat. I pop in the chat immediately and I was like, oh, no.
You're probably like, I'm watching it right now.
Well.
Let's bring us back.
Yeah, we're going to tighten up and we're going to come into the fear. What would you do if you would not fail? And I think this is a perfect segue because these shows that Joyce says suck and she's pop culture queen, they weren't afraid of failing. They just put it the fuck out there, didn't they? And
they sure did.
They got a lot of money, a lot of backers to put it out there too.
Who am I to talk? They got all the money and they made this happen.
They believed in it. Somebody believed in it and somebody followed through with that whole entire thing, which is a downside for Joy. But apparently other people really liked it.
Hey, it's one person's opinion. It's a huge success. To be fair too, I'm the type of person that I kind of go against the grain. Like if something's really popular, I'm like, let's talk about what you would do if you knew you wouldn't fail. Who wants to go first with this? I've been thinking about it all morning, but I'd love to hear
maybe
what
you
has
should
been
go first.
Well,
Joy.
I've been talking a lot about my stupid show. I want Rebecca. Rebecca, you go.
Okay. I'll say yes because I'm in the yes month. The whole month of August is going to be yes for me. So.
Yes, it is.
Gosh, I immediately went to like career choices. I don't know if my listeners know about this. I know you two probably do, but
this is just my podcast. You're living in it.
Yeah. Thanks for being my co-host. I appreciate it for spotlighting me. I went to career and I enjoy being a therapist, but I have always had this fascination like with airplanes and like airplane crashes. And then there's a whole thing called the NTSB, which is the National Transportation Safety Board. And they go investigate like airplane crashes, plane crashes, big like automobile, like big crashes. I don't know. Like, I don't have any science background. I love science, but I don't really do math. I don't think a lot of therapists do math. That's probably why we're in this field. And so I always thought I couldn't do it. But if I wasn't afraid, then yeah, maybe I would have been an NTSB investigator. So that's what I started thinking about career. But then I started thinking about what keeps you from doing it. for me personally, and it would be I would need to overcome fear and uncertainty and then self-doubt. That's what keeps me and probably a lot of other people from doing things.
I'm going to break it down what Rebecca just said. So when we're talking about, she said overcoming fear, so that's the feeling, right? So when we're afraid of failing, there's the feeling that we have, and that uncertainty can feel like anxiety. And then there was the cognitive part of this, right? Where there was the assumption, like, I'm just not good at math. I wouldn't be good at engineering. And so that would be the cognitive part of it. And then we can also look at like the environmental factors of things, where how did my environment contribute? So if you were growing up, Rebecca, and your parents were like, you're amazing at math, you're so good at science, you're this, and that, you would have had a cognitive bias that you would have been good at it. So when we're looking at fear of failure, it's really important that we look at, is there a feeling I'm trying to avoid? Is there a cognitive bias I might have? And is there something in my environment, whether that be somebody who's not believing in you, somebody who's shutting down your ideas, somebody who's, or maybe you just never had the experience of being successful in something. And so it feels really hard to get there. So I would say that's kind of the psychology part that you can think about when you're going into that, ooh, I'm afraid of failing. You can look at, how did my environment contribute to that? What are my sort of automatic thoughts that I have when I think about this? Are they true? Is that actually true? Reframing would be looking at it differently. Is there another way for me to look at it? And then we can go to the behavior. What type of behavior would I need to change? And I would say one of the most powerful things we can do is be curiously compassionate. And so Rebecca could be something like, I wonder what it would be like if I was good at engineering and math. I wonder what that would be like if I could recognize I feel vulnerable about this area, but maybe that's a possibility, right? And we start to create this emotional flexibility, and then that changes our feelings. It softens the anxiety a little bit. And we start to give ourselves compassion that maybe I didn't have that experience. I didn't have that supportive adult, or I didn't have that supportive teacher. I didn't have that guidance of how I'm going to get there. And so we can look at those things. And I can kind of build on this example. When I graduated college, my bachelor's, I thought that they graduated me because they felt sorry for me. I had such a block, did not think that I was smart, did not understand how I was ever on a roll. I was always on a roll, like in high school and in my college. I remember calling this guy who was my buddy, and I'm like, I'm graduating, I'm getting my bachelor's. And he's like, that's amazing. And I was like, and I don't think I actually earned it. I think they feel sorry for me. So they just like passed me, and I'm cute. And he was like, what are you talking about, Chelsea? But I had never had growing up anybody who ever said you were smart, ever. Never. Nobody ever said you're smart. Nobody ever told me I was good at anything. I didn't think I was I didn't know any of these things about myself. I didn't know this. So I assumed I was lucky, or somebody did something because they felt sorry for me. I didn't have all of those things. And so fast forward to my master's program, that's when I learned like psychology, and I started having this compassion for myself of, wow, you just didn't know these things. And because you didn't know these things, you were terrified of failing. You were terrified of doing the next thing. But because there was one thing I did know about myself, I know that I have an amazing work ethic. I'm a hard worker. That kept me going. So that was sort of like my environment was like, I knew I was a hard worker, so I would keep just showing up. I would keep trying to figure it out. I would keep doing it. And so again, we have these blocks. Everybody has them, and we can look at the bigger picture. Joy, what about you?
I love what you're saying though, because it's as you're talking, it reminds me of how much of this has to go back to what we were told, our internal dialogue, what shaped our internal dialogue. Like Rebecca, mine is very much career related. I was listening to a Mark Maron podcast this morning, he's one of my favorite comedians, and he talked about he's been doing a podcast for 16 years, and he's retiring from podcasting, and he started podcasting as far as I'm concerned. He's amazing. And the interviewer, someone was interviewing him. It was Jim Gaffigan was interviewing him, and said, what is like the next step for you? And he's like, I don't know. I just kind of want to, because I want to explore some untethered freedom. And that stuck with me, where I was like, untethered freedom, what would that be like? So
wow.
I realize my limitations, and I feel like that we could probably do a whole other episode about this, is just, yes, how you think about what your path in life is. Mine's very much career related, where I've always been curious about working for myself and not being tied to like any company or any business or any, so I started a podcast 13 years ago. We always kept it very quote unquote safe, where we probably could have made it a career early on, because we started early enough when things were kind of like taking off for podcasting. But I know Fear I've always taken the safe route of a quote unquote secure job with health insurance. You know what I mean? So, but I've been starting to explore just the idea of, because we've been posing this question to ourselves of like, what would you do if you wouldn't fail? Of what if you did just start thinking and dreaming about the possibility? Because that is, to me, that's even scary to just like dream and think about it, of what it would look like to whatever that looks like. Have podcasting be your full-time job, have whatever it is, because I don't even know what it would be. I don't even have like the idea of what I would want to do to generate my own business. But that is a interesting idea for me around what you would do if you knew you couldn't fail, because I have always played it pretty safe as far as work goes.
So you don't know what it would be, but it sounds like you're very clear on what playing it safe looks like for you. So if you just listed all of what are the safe things, a job that has insurance, that has an income, blah, 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 then would it be fair to assume that what you would be looking for would be opposite of that?
1000%. Like I always, I'm very, not envious is the word. I admire people who are just like, they do their own thing. You generate your own income. You don't have the guaranteed income. You have to kind of generate it yourself, versus I've always sat back and be like, well, I have a paycheck, and then you just get a job and you always have this insurance. Like that is something that has been very comfortable to me. My first job out of grad school, I had for 11 years. I probably would have stayed there longer. Just I play it safe and comfortable, where I want to have this steady, and I think I'm ready to just start exploring letting go of that. And again, it's a baby seed of an idea, but even that just feels kind of scary.
I really love what you're saying with it being a baby seed of an idea. And I like that you shared your admiration for individuals who are able to do that. So when we're looking at failure, that's something that I always like to say, if someone else can do it, you can do it too. And then now in this day and age where we have education that you don't even have to pay for, you could get educated just by going on YouTube or researching, reading. I mean, there's so many ways to do this, to figure things out, that one way to look at the fear of failure is, if someone else can do it, I can do it too. That is a seed, right? So that's just like the beginning of the seed. And then I would say, when we're looking at, the smaller steps of these type of things, is just like, what's one thing I can do towards planting and growing that seed? Today I wrote because I started back in my routine today, and today I wrote down what's my mantra that I want to keep for this week. And I say this week because my kids started school today, so I know it's not Monday, but this is my week right now. And I wrote, I live in joy, flow, and surrender to all things of the highest, greatest good. That is very much about flow, creativity, where those things are at. I think when we have joy, when we're planting these seeds, joy gives us the opportunity. If you're doing something and you're feeling joyful, it's like, ooh, I'm on the right path. I look at it that way. I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm enjoying looking at this class online. I'm enjoying learning this business thing. I'm enjoying watching other entrepreneurs, right, who have their own business. I'm going with Joy's example. And then I always say that there is a surrender piece, because we don't get to control the timeline. And we have this belief like, oh, I can control this. I can get there. I can do it. If it's going to be like this. Okay. No, we know it doesn't work that way. Yes, maybe you go to college and then you graduate, and then there's this kind of path you want to take, but that path most likely isn't linear. And so I think there's a lot of let me do the behaviors that align with this, and then let me surrender every day, rather than obsessing, rather than beating yourself up, going down the rabbit hole, all of those type of things that happen that create more fear, create more anxiety, create more uncertainty, we do get the opportunity to say, I've done what I can, now I surrender. I've done what I can, now I surrender. When I started a business, and I've done it several times in my life, it was literally each day a task towards something in that business. When we did the Laugh Cry Club, it was making sure I posted something on social media. When I write, making sure that I write like once a day, like those type of things. And they weren't huge, but they were steps towards building that foundation. And right now, my fear of failure is that I'm not ready to go back into work. And I'm afraid that one of the things that I feel the best about is that I'm a great therapist. And I don't feel right now that I'm equipped to do that with the grief that I'm in. And so I'm going back to the seed. I'm going back to what Joy said. I'm going back to the seed, and I'm like, okay, today you just need to focus on having something joyful. You need to focus on getting into flow, and then we need to surrender it. Like get off of the timeline, Chelsea, because that will eat me up. And that's a hard thing to do.
And I love that we talked last week around these small steps, and this is kind of the same thing, where it's just everything that requires change are these tiny baby steps for me, it's just the idea of it, of starting to open that door, crack the door a little bit, where Chelsea, you're like, okay, I know that this is something I want to do, but I'm just going to start focusing on the joys, focusing on the things that feel good versus like pushing yourself to be like, well, I just got to dive in because that doesn't feel good. And you know that's not, you're afraid of failing, but it's also because you're in this state of like, therapy is very vulnerable for people. It requires a lot of emotion and you are dealing with that yourself. And then the same with Rebecca, where you're like, hey, this is a completely new idea, but I would like to challenge all of us to be like, all right, where are we kind of missing, or where are we limiting our beliefs to where in actuality, anything is really possible. Like I laugh at myself sometimes. I'll catch myself thinking like, well, I'm almost 50, and like you start to think about the road ahead and like retirement, whatever. I'm like, I don't know. I think I could do, there's a lot more things that I want to do. So
there's a lot more things you can do at 50 or beyond.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
It's so interesting how we do that to ourselves, because I think, speaking for myself, putting so much energy into one profession that I feel like, okay, well, I just got to keep going on that path, or I don't know. It's kind of can mind screw me sometimes of like what's possible for me next. And that's what I need to challenge.
So I think this is going to be a great segue to next week's session, where we really are going to take a deep dive into breaking down the simplicity of the cognitive behavioral therapy technique of how thoughts, feelings, and behaviors go together. And then maybe we can pick one thing. So each of us, and we can say it out loud, and then next week we can visit it from a CBT lens. So I'll say for myself, between now and next week, next time we record, I'm going to pick a behavior that goes with that fear that going back to work, it's too soon. How can I start to prep myself for when I am ready to go back? So that's going to be my challenge to myself. So I'm looking at my fear of feeling like I have this, need to get on this timeline. I need to know what's next. And right now I'm going to make it really small, and I'm going to go back to the seed and start to figure out what I need to do to start growing in that direction of going back into having my own business again, having my own career again, when right now I'm in a very big pause. So that's going to be mine. Rebecca or Joy, what can we revisit next week for you from the CBT lens?
Mine's going to be thinking errors, of really catching myself. And the thinking error basically is just, when you have a thought and you think that's the truth, going, oh, actually, this is not the reality. This is something that I've just made up in my head. This is the story in my head. This is how I've always thought, but really challenging these negative beliefs and opening up the idea of like, okay, what actually is possible? Because where I go is like, well, I don't know the answer. I don't have to know the answer right now. I just have to know that there's something out there.
I like it. So I have the behavior. Joy has the thinking. Rebecca, what about you?
Well, I feel like I should have the feeling then, but to just even it out. But when Joy, you said, where are the limiting like self-beliefs, that really hit me. And I feel like mine's a little bit around thoughts too, and like these distorted thoughts and correcting them, because distorted thoughts lead to feelings, emotions, and then they lead to behaviors. But yeah, if you correct the thought, then you can correct or change the feeling so you don't feel like shit because the way you're thinking about yourself or something you're doing.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really awesome to look at because we can see like mine is frozen behaviorally right now. Behaviorally, I've not done anything. Career, I've shut it down. Since Steve died, it's down. There's a gate. And so behaviorally, that's where I'm going to get, so we all kind of can look at this and you can ask yourself this week. You can just say like, am I getting stuck behaviorally? Am I getting stuck in thought? Like, is the feeling paralyzing me? Like, where are we at? And also taking a look at, where those biases are from the environment growing up. What did you not hear or what did you hear that maybe we want to look at? And next week we'll do a little bit of therapy at the Laugh Cry Club.
Yeah, Chelsea, you were talking about doubting your abilities as a therapist. And I'm like, perfect. You can practice on us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be whole, I want to feel like when I show up, I'm fully present and I'm fully in it. And right now my brain is like a fog machine at a Grateful Dead concert.
Yeah. Trying to find a bathroom.
I'm just trying to find a bathroom and hoping to not step in shit. That is where I'm at.
Yeah. I love that.
Oh, well, Laugh Cry Club members, we love y'all. Thank you.
We love you. Thank you so much for another week with us. We will see you next week. You can follow us on all the social media platforms at Laugh Cry Club, and you can email us laughcryclub@gmail.com if you have any comments, suggestions, or things that you want to hear us talk about on the show. Drop us a note. We always love to hear from you. And the best compliment and support you can do is share with a friend and leave us a rating and review on any podcast platform that you're listening on. Thank you so much. We love you. We're so glad you're in the club.
Thanks,
See
everybody.
ya. Bye.
That's life, baby.